Okay, so imagine for a second that you're trying to open a door. A really heavy, solid oak door, a massive thing.
Okay.
And you are pushing with everything you have. I mean, you're sweating, you're gritting your teeth, the veins are literally popping out of your forehead.
In there.
You do this for hours. You're exhausted, your muscles are trembling, and then, just as you're about to collapse, you realize the door opens by pulling.
Yeah, that's a painful realization. Physically and, I imagine, emotionally.
It is. But according to the stack of research and sources we're diving into today, that is exactly how most of us approach happiness and success. We are pushing when we should be pulling.
It's the central paradox of this whole deep dive. We're conditioned by the physical world.
Right, where more effort is better.
Exactly. You want to move a giant rock, you just apply more force. It's linear. But the source material we're looking at today argues that the mental world, the realm of your mind, your spirit, your psychology, it operates on a completely inverted set of laws.
Exactly. In this world, brute force doesn't just fail.
Hmm.
It actually works against you. So today, we're unpacking these 10 mental laws from some classic texts. Think of it as a manual for spiritual engineering.
And what I love about this is that these aren't just, fluffy motivational quotes for your laptop.
No.
The sources describe them as immutable principles, like gravity or electricity. Gravity doesn't ask if you believe in it before it drops an apple on your head. It just acts. These laws work 24/7, whether you know they exist or not.
So we should probably understand them so they stop working against us. Let's jump right into the foundation. Law number 1 is the law of relaxation. And this is where that whole pushing the door thing really lands.
This law is based on a concept called the paradox of reversed effort. It was coined by the French psychologist Émile Coué. And the idea is simple, but it's incredibly frustrating for high achievers. The more you consciously strain to do something in the mental realm, the less you succeed.
They use this great visual of a wooden plank. If I put a standard 2x4 plank on the floor and ask you to walk across it, you do it. No sweat. You wouldn't even think about it.
Right. Because your willpower, which is saying I want to walk, and your imagination, which sees you walking, they're aligned. You want to walk, you imagine walking, you walk. It's simple.
Take that exact same plank, same width, same wood, and hang it between 2 skyscrapers, 300 feet in the air. Suddenly, I can't do it. My knees just lock up. I'm paralyzed.
But why? The physical task hasn't changed at all.
Because even though my will is saying walk, my imagination is just screaming, you're going to fall and die.
And the imagination wins every single time. That's the core of this law. When you tense up to try not to fall, that tension, which the source defines so well as frozen fear.
Frozen fear, I love that.
It actually makes you rigid. It disrupts your balance, and it pretty much guarantees the fall.
So tension isn't just a side effect of stress. It's the actual enemy of performance here. It blocks the flow.
Precisely. The goal is what a lot of mystics and flow state researchers call active passivity. Think of a master archer. They aren't asleep, they're hyper-aware, but they're not rigid either.
Focused but loose.
Exactly. And that's the only state where the subconscious can actually do its job properly.
Speaking of the subconscious, that brings us right to law number 2, the law of subconscious activity. Now, I've heard a million explanations of conscious versus subconscious, but I really love the metaphor the source uses here, the ship captain and the engine room.
Oh, it's the perfect way to understand the hierarchy. Your conscious mind, the voice in your head right now, you are the captain on the bridge.
I'm in charge.
You're in charge. You see the horizon, you check the weather, you pick the destination, but the captain doesn't shovel the coal. The captain doesn't turn the massive gears.
Right, that's the engine room, the subconscious.
And the engine room is powerful, it's tireless, and this is the scary part, it's blindly obedient. The crew down there has no windows. They can't see the outside world.
They have no idea what's happening.
None. So if the captain grabs the microphone and screams, "We're going to hit an iceberg,"
The crew doesn't argue. They don't say, hey, boss, maybe we should turn.
they just follow orders.
They just follow the orders. They immediately execute the hit the iceberg protocol. They brace for impact. They shut down systems.
That is terrifying because it implies the engine room doesn't.
It doesn't get sarcasm. It doesn't get jokes. No,
Yeah.
It is deductive. It accepts your premises as absolute truth and works 24/7 to make them real. It doesn't judge. It just executes.
So if I'm walking around casually saying, "Oh, I'm so broke, I'm so tired, I'm such a mess," my subconscious is just down there going, "Aye, aye, Captain," executing broken tire protocols immediately. Let's drain his energy and make him miss that opportunity.
Exactly. You are giving orders with every single thought. And since the crew is listening to everything, even when you're just venting, We need to be so careful about what orders we're shouting down that pipe.
Which leads to the practical side.
Yeah.
How do we actually change the orders? That's law number 3, the law of substitution. This gets at that classic problem of, how do I stop thinking about bad things?
Right. The source brings up the famous polar bear experiment. If I tell you right now, do not think of a polar bear, what happens?
I see a giant polar bear instantly, probably holding a Coke.
Exactly. You can't help it. And the source makes a really profound point here about vacuums.
Yeah, you can't have a mental vacuum. You can't just shovel out darkness. Darkness isn't a thing. It's just the absence of light. You can't shovel absence. You have to turn on a light.
So you don't fight the negative thought. You don't wrestle the bear.
No, because wrestling it is just focusing on it more. You have to substitute it. You have to replace it immediately. The source suggests substitution by distraction.
Like a crossword puzzle or something.
Exactly. Or a movie,
Yeah.
just to break the loop.
Mm-hmm.
Or substitution by the opposite, where you deliberately convert a thought of fear into a specific thought of faith or safety. But the rule is, you can't just say, I won't think about this. You have to think about something else.
It sounds simple, but that takes some serious discipline. It's active work. And it ties directly into law number 6, which the source groups here, because it's so related, the law of growth. This uses the garden metaphor.
Right. Attention is water and fertilizer. Whatever you pay attention to grows. Period.
The source called this the Matthew paradox, from that Bible verse that always, confuses people. To him who has, more will be given.
It sounds incredibly unfair on the surface, but it's a mental law. If you have a problem and you focus on it, you vent about it, you post about it, you obsess over every little detail.
You're watering the weeds.
You're watering the weeds. You are feeding that problem with your own life energy.
I felt a little called out by the venting section, honestly. We're told constantly in modern therapy culture that it's good to get it all out, but the
Yeah.
source seems to say venting is just fertilizing the monster.
Well, it's a nuance point. Acknowledging a feeling is healthy. Denial is bad. But dwelling on the narrative, replaying the drama over and over, calling friends to retell the story for the 10th time, that's toxic. The source suggests a technique called mental ostracism.
Which means?
You treat the problem as persona non grata, you starve it of attention. You don't ignore the solution, you take action to fix it, but you ignore the drama around the problem. You stop giving it the spotlight.
But doing that, ignoring the drama of a big problem, that takes a lot of skill. It feels so unnatural.
Which is conveniently law number 4, the law of practice.
Right.
This really challenges that idea of talent or personality. We think people are just born positive or born calm. Oh, she's just naturally zen. But the source argues that mental control is a muscle, just like a bicep.
The source used the jungle versus highway analogy here to explain neuroplasticity, which I thought was great because it really visualizes why it's so hard at the beginning.
Imagine your brain is a dense, overgrown jungle. The first time you try to think a new positive thought or try to use substitution, it's like hacking through vines with a dull machete. It's slow, it's exhausting, and you barely make a dent.
And you just want to give up immediately because it feels fake or hard.
Right. But if you walk that path 100 times, the vines get beaten down. You walk it 10,000 times, it becomes a paved highway. You could drive down it at 60 miles an hour without even thinking.
The scary part is we have already built highways for the bad stuff.
That's the master of disaster concept. The source argues that the person who worries constantly isn't a victim. They are a virtuoso of worry. They have practiced imagining catastrophic scenarios so many times, so consistently, that they can do it effortlessly. They're experts at being anxious.
Wow. So we are all highly trained athletes. We're just trained in the wrong sport.
Precisely. You have to stop running down the worry highway and start hacking a new path. And there's no shortcut. It is just reps. You just have to hack the vines.
Okay, let's look at the fuel for all this. Because sometimes you can practice positive thinking, you can say the affirmations, but it just feels empty. It feels like you're lying to yourself. That's where law number 5 comes in, the law of the dual factor.
This is the equation of manifestation. The source says a thought needs 2 wings to fly, knowledge and feeling. Or, if you prefer, the map and the fuel.
Break that down for us.
Knowledge is the map. It's the clear intellectual image of what you want. I want to be confident. But feeling is the fuel. It's the emotion attached to that image. The source calls it the one-winged bird.
I like that.
If you just have knowledge-like dry affirmations, you're just a parrot. You're standing in front of a mirror saying, I am rich, but inside you feel nothing. Or worse, you feel poor while saying it.
That's a bird just spinning in circles on the ground. It's not taking off.
Exactly. And the flip side, all feeling but no knowledge. That's just chaotic hysteria. A lot of energy, but absolutely no direction.
Okay, here's where it got really interesting for me. The source says, fear is just this law used negatively.
Think about it. What is fear? It's a very clear visualization of a disaster. That's the knowledge or the image combined with a high emotional charge of terror. That's the feeling.
It's the perfect execution of the dual factor.
Perfect. You're using the law perfectly,
Yeah.
just aimed at your own destruction.
We are so good at visualizing what we don't want with high emotion. We need to flip that. And that leads to law number 10, the law of expectation. This was my favorite metaphor in the whole stack, the restaurant order.
It's so relatable. When you go to a restaurant and order a steak, do you sit there panic-stricken? Do you grip the table, sweating?
No, unless it's a really suspicious restaurant.
Right, but generally no. Do you run to the kitchen every 2 minutes to check if the chef is actually cooking it?
Excuse me, are you sure you have the steak? What if you ran out? What if the stove broke? No, they would kick me out.
Exactly. You don't do that. You sit back, you drink your water, you chat. You wait with confident expectation. You just know it's coming.
But in life, we place an order for a new job or a partner or a health outcome and then immediately start panicking that it won't arrive.
The source distinguishes between desire and expectation. Desire is just an intellectual preference. I'd like a steak. Expectation is emotional certainty. The steak is coming. The subconscious delivers what you expect, not just what you want.
And the source introduced a word I'd never heard before, paranoia.
I love this concept. It's the opposite of paranoia. Paranoia is the delusion that the world is conspiring to hurt you. Pronoia is the belief that the universe is conspiring for your benefit.
So even when you miss the bus.
A pronoia mindset says, the universe just saved me from something, or it wants me to meet someone on the next one.
I love that. It reframes every setback as a setup.
Right.
But even if we have paranoia, even if we're practicing, there are things that can block us. Big, heavy barriers. The source identifies law number 7 as the iron door, the law of forgiveness.
This is usually the hardest pill to swallow because we feel so justified in our resentment. We have receipts. They hurt us.
We do.
But the source frames resentment not as a moral issue. It's not about being a good person, but as an electrical one. Resentment is a short circuit in your system.
The metaphor of the prisoner and the jailer really struck me here.
It's a powerful image. If you want to keep someone in the mental jail of your resentment, you have to sit by the door and watch them. You can't go enjoy your life. You have to guard the cell.
So you imprison yourself to keep them imprisoned?
Exactly. You can't move forward because you're on guard duty at the cell of your past. Forgiveness isn't about saying what they did was okay. It's about you standing up, leaving the keys, and walking away from the jail cell so you are free.
It's purely selfish in the best possible way. It frees up all that energy. And related to this is law number 8, the law of cause and effect.
The iron law. The source is very firm here. Luck does not exist.
That's a bold statement.
It is. But think about nature. If you see an apple on the ground, you know there's an apple tree above it. You don't think it fell from a random cloud or just magically appeared.
Right, it's logical.
But in our lives, we see the apple, the bad luck, the debt, the recurring drama, and we act like it fell from the sky. Why me? We refuse to look up at the tree of thoughts we planted that grew the fruit.
But why is it so hard to see that connection? If I touch a hot stove, I know immediately I caused the burn.
It's the time lag.
Mm-hmm.
That's the tricky part. If you touch a hot stove, the pain is instant. Cause and effect are simultaneous. But in the mind, you can plant a seed of negativity today, and the fruit doesn't drop for a year. Because of that delay, we delude ourselves into thinking the law doesn't exist. We think we got away with the negative thinking.
But we didn't. It was just growing underground.
Exactly. So we're always planting even if the harvest is delayed. And that brings us to the last massive blockage. Law number 9, the law of belief.
This is about the filters we view reality through. The source tells the classic story of the elephant and the rope.
I know this one. A giant elephant tied to a tiny wooden stake.
Right. It could snap that stake like a toothpick. But it doesn't. Why? Because when it was a baby, it tried to pull away and it failed. It wasn't strong enough, so it learned a belief: I cannot escape. Now that it's 5 tons of muscle, the belief is still stronger than its physical strength. It doesn't even try.
And biologically, the source links this to the reticular activating system, or RAS. This is actual neuroscience.
It is.
The RAS is the bouncer of the brain. It decides what data gets in. If you believe people are mean, your RAS will literally filter out smiling faces. You won't even see them. It'll highlight the one person frowning into the corner. You unconsciously sabotage your own perception to prove your beliefs right.
So how do you break the stake? How do we change a deep belief? The source gave a great visual, the table metaphor.
Imagine a belief as a tabletop. It's supported by legs of evidence. I'm bad at math, is the table. The legs are, I failed a test in 3rd grade, my dad said I wasn't smart, and so on.
To change the belief, you can't just smash the table.
No, you have to knock out the legs. You have to question the evidence. Am I really bad at math, or did I just have one bad teacher in 3rd grade? Is that actually true? Once you knock out enough legs, the table becomes unstable and it falls. Then you can build a new one.
So looking back, we've covered relaxation, the subconscious, substitution, practice, dual factor expectation, and the blockages. It feels like a lot, but the source really emphasizes that this is an ecosystem.
It is. You can't just pick one. They all work together.
Hmm.
You relax to access the subconscious. You use substitution to plant the right seeds. You water them with attention and feeling. That's the dual factor. You clear the weeds with forgiveness. It's a whole system.
And the final metaphor the expert leaves us with is the mirror.
The architect and the mirror. Life is a mirror. If you look in a mirror and see a frown, you can't reach out and try to comb the reflection's hair to fix it. You can't force the reflection to smile.
You have a smile first.
That's the hard part. Smiling when the reflection is frowning, that is the work. That's the spiritual engineering. The source warns us. Knowledge is not power, it is potential power.
Right.
Knowing these laws and not using them is spiritual negligence. It's like having the map to a treasure and using it as a placemat for your coffee.
The challenge then is moving this from just information in our brains to an instinct in our cells.
Exactly. Don't just collect the map. Drive the car.
And here's a thought to leave you with, something to chew on that wasn't explicitly in the summary, but it connects it all. If the subconscious accepts everything as truth and the law expectation shapes your reality, consider the lyrics of the songs you listen to on repeat every single morning.
Oh, that is a dangerous question.
Are you singing along to your own heartbreak? Are you chanting, I'm so lonely, to a catchy beat for 20 minutes a day? What orders are you shouting to the engine room while you're stuck in traffic?
They might require a playlist audit immediately.
I think we both have some songs to delete. Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.